Hello, folks. Well, today we're going to do lesson 23. And hello to Wendy.
Hi.
Wendy, today we're going to do lesson 23.
Okay.
I like this lesson because it begins to talk about how the primary thing of our experience in this life, it always begins with our thoughts. And so our thoughts, it's kind of like where our experience is birthed from. And so this is what this lesson talks about. Okay, everybody in lesson 23?
Yes. What page is it, please?
It's in the lessons. It's page 34.
Thank you.
Lesson 23, page 34. And please tell me when you're there.
We're there.
I'm there.
Okay. I'll go ahead and read the first paragraph. The title of lesson 23. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Paragraph 1. The idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will ever succeed. Nothing else will work. Everything else is meaningless. But this way cannot fail. Every thought you have makes up some segment of the world you see. It is with your thoughts, then, that we must work if your perception of the world is to be changed. And so again, the idea is whatever world you're experiencing, it could be a dark world, a challenging world, a happy world, a peaceful world, a sad world. It always begins within your mind through your thoughts, through the thoughts you choose to think, focus on, and experience. And so that's good news. Because if you want happiness, if you want peace, you don't have to search out in the world for that. You simply have to go within your mind and make a conscious decision to focus only on thoughts that will produce peace and joy, and let go of all other thoughts that don't do that. So in sentence number 4, every thought you have makes up some segment of the world you see. It is with your thoughts then that we must work. And so if you want a more peaceful life, a more joyful life, simply begin with the thoughts you think. That's the key. The key to your peace of mind and joy is within your mind. Nowhere out there, within your mind. Any other comments or questions about paragraph 1? By the way, Samir and Wendy, Sulma has been. If you want to tell them a little bit about your experience with the course, Sulma, because she's got some good experience.
Short version, 1990. Really short version. I hated my mother, and the course woke me up. Chapter 13, section 4, the function of time, where it talks basically was showing me that I was looking at my mother for who I thought she should be, and instead of looking at her for who she was. And I had a wonderful meltdown on December 7th, 1992. And I have been with the course. It has been my saving grace ever since. That's a short story.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. Any thoughts or comments on the paragraph 1?
So how do we make a conscious habit of focusing on producing thoughts that produce peace and joy? Like what? It's just to be a change in the mindset, um, attitude. Is it repetition? How do we make this functional?
One of the things you would do is when you have a thought, if the thought is leading you towards peace and joy, you support it by putting your time, focus, and energy into those thoughts. Okay? Now, when you're having thoughts that don't take you to peace of mind and joy, then you make a conscious decision to stop supporting them by ending the time, focus, and energy you're sacrificing to them. And so it's a constant practice of supporting the thoughts that lead you to peace and stop supporting the thoughts with your time, focus, and energy that lead you away from peace. Any other comments or questions in regards to Samir's question?
I wanted to say, did you guys know that Albert Einstein has a lot of quotes that support what the Course in Miracles say? One of his quotes says, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one.
Yeah, Einstein has a lot of things that he said that agree with the Course. So did Buddha. So did many other. Yeah.
I think I'm just impressed with the fact that it wasn't a religious perspective, it was a scientific perspective.
Right.
And he said the greatest illusion in this world is the illusion of separation. Albert Einstein said that.
Yeah. You know, there's a line in the Course that says, this is a special form of the universal Course. This book, A Course in Miracles, is not the only source that tells us the same things. We can get the same things from like what Einstein said, what Buddha said, from the Tao Te Ching. There's many sources that basically say the same thing as the Course. It's a special form of the universal Course. One of my favorite examples is the Tao Te Ching, because I read it a long time ago, and the first line on the Tao is, the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Okay, what does the Course say? The Course says, words are symbols of symbols, and therefore cannot adequately express their own symbols. We can talk about this, but that's not reality. It's just talking about it.
Yeah, I want to make one point about with Samir's question and the title. The title is, I can escape the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. So another way to say attack thoughts is unloving thoughts or unjoyful thoughts. And so that's just so I can clarify the title of the lesson. Okay, would somebody like to do paragraph 2?
Before you do, to Samir's question, the Course also reminds us that we have to be willing. We have to have that willingness. One of my favorite quotes in the Course, it says, the habit of engaging with God is easy if we actively refuse to let our mind slip away. Actively refuse. And if that means, putting a rubber band on my wrist to pop it, to remember, if it means setting an alarm to remember, little post-it notes around, whatever it takes. It's really about being willing to actively engage.
But it's really, really hard to give up those kinds of thoughts because they sort of just form themselves unbidden, and it's a habit. It's a very hard habit to break, even if you're actively pursuing breaking that habit of, judging and those kinds of things. It really is very difficult because I think we do it it's almost a natural thing to do. And then it feels unnatural to give them up at first, like really hard work.
Yeah, let me say something about habits. There's a line in the Course that it says that decisions in this world are continuous, and most of the time they're not conscious; they're subconscious decisions or habits. But that if we practice with making conscious decisions, we develop new habits. I always use a kind of a silly example. You're on the expressway and somebody cuts you off and you slam on the brakes. That's a habit. You may notice that by the time you are conscious of that that you needed to stop the car, your foot's already on the brake. That's a habit. It's not a conscious decision. It's a habit. Another habit is getting angry. You know, you don't sit there and say, okay, should I get angry or not? Yeah, I think I should get angry. You know, just the anger just comes up. It's a habit. Of course, says if you practice making these decisions when you're aware of it, you develop new habits. You know, you get angry, you're angry all the way to work, and you yell at somebody at the office, and the next time you get angry, and on the way to the office, start practicing. I don't want to keep this anger. Holy Spirit, turn it over to you. Maybe by the time you get to the office, your anger is gone. The next time, maybe you slam on the brakes, and you're gonna get angry, and you say, "Oh, wait a minute, I don't even want to go there." And the anger fades in a few seconds. And eventually you get to a point where you think, oh, this is pretty cool. Somebody cut me off and I slammed on the brakes, but I didn't get angry. You develop new habits. It takes work.
It's
You
a
know,
process, yeah.
you know about the worker who was asked how to get to Carnegie Hall, and the guy said, oh, yes, practice, practice, practice.
And it's also, Wendy, when you say it's hard, you know, that's what the ego says to your mind to make it seem hard. But you know what's really hard is to keep that mindset, a mindset that only leads you to pain and struggle and chaos. And so you don't want that. Nobody really in truth wants that. And so when the ego says, you know, letting go of judgment is hard, well, keeping judgment is much harder. And so practice having a little willingness each and every time unloving thoughts come, and just say to your own mind, I'm going to have a little willingness right now, and I'm going to choose thoughts that lead me towards peace, not away from peace.
Well, I found a lot of willingness. I was just trying to be comforting to Samir because I found in the beginning that I struggled quite a lot with putting down, first of all, noticing them, and then second of all, putting them down. I think the work is valuable. That's why I'm showing up in all these meetings. I see radical change in myself. This last trip that I just took showed me that. I used to be terrified on airplanes, and I just sat there and was like, I rest in God. And you know what I mean? I was okay. And things were happening in the airports and delayed flights. I used to just, you know, have anxiety and meltdowns all the time. I was like, I definitely could see that I don't have the same reactivity, and that I would start to have maybe irritated thoughts towards people, but now I'm aware of them. I don't actually think you have a choice until you recognize a choice. And I think it took me this long, and I'm 57 for anybody who wants to know. So that's a long time. Even though I seem to have an awareness from the things I've written myself over the years, I guess it didn't stick, or I was a temporary awareness, or whatever, momentary, you know, moment of grace where I saw things. But this is the first time that I have consistently understood that I have choices. Before this, I sort of just felt like my mind ran me, and that my mind was sort of stuck at about a 5-year-old level and was controlling me. And so it's pretty interesting to me that, you know, I'm fairly well read, a lot of self-help, a lot of metaphysical stuff, that this is the time that I started to really understand, oh, you mean I can put this whole thing just down, all the judgment and all this stuff and the history with this person and, you know, the toxicity of the relationship, blah, 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 that I don't have to keep rolling that over in my mind. I don't have to keep struggling with it. I can actually just put it down and walk away from that. That's pretty exciting that I have the choice to do that. And, you know, doing those things, I think I experience a lot more loving thoughts than I used to. I used to be far more judgmental and myself as well. And when I find myself judging it, you know, I can be gentle with myself and say, you know, to put that down and to wish whoever the person is something good, something beautiful. You know, everybody struggles. So why not?
Thank you. Would somebody like to read number 2 and 3, paragraph 2 and 3?
I'd love to. It's one of my favorite paragraphs in the course.
All right.
If the cause of the world you see is attack thoughts, you must learn that it is these thoughts which you do not want. There is no point in lamenting the world. There is no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. But there is indeed a point in changing your thoughts about the world. Here you are changing the cause. The effect will change automatically. And basically, that's just saying again, it all begins with our thoughts. It's like a mobile. You push, as soon as you hit it, the rest of it automatically moves. It that out there isn't going to change because what we see is what that out there is just our perception of it. As I have said before, it's not ever what's happening, it's what we think about what's happening. It's never about what we see, it's what we think about what we see. And this is, saying from back in the first paragraph, it's our thoughts that need the work. I'm complete.
Can you read number 3 too, please? Paragraph 3.
The world you see is a vengeful world, and everything in it is a symbol of vengeance. Each of your perceptions of, quote, external reality, close quote, is a pictorial representation of your own attack thoughts. One can well ask if this can be called seeing. Is not fantasy a better word for such a process, and hallucination a more appropriate term for the result?
Yeah, and so, well, first, Isabel, we're doing lesson 23, just in case you guys don't know that. Lesson 23. Hi, Isabel. We're doing lesson 23. We're in paragraph 3. Yeah, so like Sulma was saying, it all begins with your thoughts. You change your thoughts, you change your world. So ask yourself, what kind of world do I want to see and experience? And then you make the conscious decision to only support thoughts that will support the kind of world that you want to see and experience. And you want to let go of all other thoughts, which is paragraph number 3 calls fantasies and hallucinations, that will not support the world you want. And so it's a lot simpler than these 1,000 pages seems to make it. The course. The course is simply saying, focus on loving thoughts, and you will experience a loving world. Focus on joyous thoughts, and give your time, focus, and energy to joyous thoughts, and you will have a joyful world. Equally so, we have free will. If you choose thoughts of judgment and anger and shame and guilt and resentment and regret and hate and punishment, then you will live a hell on earth. Okay? So in every moment, you can choose between living heaven on earth or hell on earth. And so the world you choose is the world that you must for some reason want. But just know that heaven is always just a simple choice away. No matter how complicated the ego makes your life, or how dark or how challenging, peace is always just a thought away. You can change the world you're experiencing by simply changing the thoughts you think. Any other comments or questions on paragraph 2 and 3?
Well, I do, but it's a little cynical. It sounds like when people say you have selective hearing, you hear the things you want to hear and you ignore the things you don't want to hear. Like
Yeah.
that in part, this is what this strikes me as, I just went to Auschwitz. I will not discuss what I saw and felt there, but I will say this. I have a hard time sometimes putting things down and it's attached to guilt, which, is an error according to this. But I'll give you an example. When my mother died, I took care of her when she had cancer. This is a long time ago. I can talk about it very easily because I was only 30 then. But it took me 10 years before I could get rid of a box of medical records horrible medical records with all the images of the cancer in her lungs and in her brains and everything, because I felt like I was disrespecting her and her life. You know what I mean? Like that I was just throwing this out and that was her end and that's how she suffered. And I was there with her, and I do believe in beautiful moments of grace. I was a compassionate witness to her suffering. I think that's a powerful thing that we do for each other, is to be there when somebody is suffering. You can't fix it, but you can be there. And it felt disrespectful. And in my visit to Auschwitz, I couldn't believe that I was able to find peace and joy the next day. Truly, I did not think it was going to happen because I felt so sick when I left in every element that you physically, emotionally, spiritually, I felt sick from what I saw and experienced there. But it wasn't I prayed for intercession. I reached out to a couple of people. I asked the Holy Spirit to help me find something, because I did not want to feel that kind of darkness. I had one more day and night in Poland before I was going to go home. And God provided it to me, but not through my thoughts. I told you that I often experience what I think of as God coming to me through other people in their acts of compassion or whatever else. And it was because I talked to students who were the age of the students I teach in college, and at the train stations, whatever else. And my heart lightened, it lifted. They helped guide me because I was traveling. It was 4.5 hours each way by train, and I don't speak Polish. And the people my age don't speak English, but the younger ones have been taught in school. And I just, by the time I got back, and I did make a conscious decision that I did not want to be in darkness, but that it wasn't disrespect in my mind to lay it down. I experienced what I experienced while I was there. I'm bringing back what I have to bring back to work with my students and to continue my work, with genocide awareness on my campus. But I felt that I did not need to carry that with me 24/7, that was okay for me to, lay it down and pick it back up when I needed it. And my last day in Poland was very joyful. I was very relieved, but I don't experience that as me changing my thoughts. So maybe James, you can help me with that. I experience that as God interceding by putting people around me who can reflect something to me that I need. The same way I feel about the people in the group, which is why I show up here constantly. So what do you say about that?
Well, if you want peace, you have to change your thoughts in the direction of peace. And so, even though your mind is saying to you that it's the outside world that's helping me find peace, it's actually your thoughts about the outside world that are helping you find peace. And so you're open to what the people are saying that are bringing you closer to the state of peace. And so you have what Sulma said was that little willingness to have your mind, quote unquote, cleaned from the difficult experiences that you have. And so there's nothing. You were able to let go of the past and come back to the present moment and just pick up whatever you needed to learn from that experience, and now you can teach that experience with peace. And so just practice giving yourself a little more credit when you get to achieve the state of peace in those situations, because it's only your willingness to have peace that you get peace. Because if you did not have that willingness, then those kids can say whatever they can say. They can say, well, all kinds of peaceful things to you, and you will never have peace because you're not willing to have peace. And so, whatever it is that those people said that led you towards peace, it's because you had the willingness to allow for that. And so, pat yourself on the back a little bit more for that. I think Juan has his hand up.
So you basically said exactly what I was um, wishing to remind us all, which is we align everything out in the physical world to give us exactly what we want. And so we materialize people who say what we want them to say, and materialize situations and synchronicities to feed us proper alignment to feel whatever it is that is real to me. And the other thing that I wanted to remind us all is if we've taken care of a parent or a sibling or ourselves and hang on to the physical record of how well we took care of them, and wow, wasn't I a great son, daughter, or wasn't I an amazing healer to myself? All that's complete ego bullshit. Just accept that healing is happening for everybody who wants it, and illness is happening for everybody who wants it. And there's nothing wrong or better or worse to be ill or to be well. It's simply an experience we choose with the time and space we use, the energy that we really are in. So we just want to experience something, and we turn this energy into whatever it is that we want to experience. Sometimes we turn this energy into people. Sometimes we turn this energy into weather. Sometimes we turn in whatever it is that we want, we get. Even if you're crying, I don't want this. Please liberate this from me. Oh my God, I can't help myself. Face it. You want it, you're giving it to yourself, and that's life. Claim your power.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, there's a part in the course that says, forgiveness is always for yourself. It has nothing to do with what happened in the Holocaust or anything like that. That's absolutely horrible. Forgiveness means I'm forgiving myself from having to lead a desperate life because of what happened. And it doesn't mean that you do not take action. If you see something that's going to happen and there's some action that you can take that will help, you do it. Forgiveness is simply, yes, was the Holocaust horrible? If you look at horrible things in the world, I think the Holocaust is generally number one. Everybody thinks, and there's a lot of horrible things that have happened in the world. The Holocaust is pretty much up there at the top. It has nothing to do with, forgiving what happened.
Yeah, and
Millions, 6 million men, women, and children.
Mike, your sound went off a little bit.
Oh, it did? Okay. Now, maybe my voice, my tone of voice went down. Phone didn't pick it up. Because you're talking about generally what everybody considers out of all the horrible things that happened in the world, that's probably the most horrible. Has forgiveness has nothing to do with that. I'm not to allow myself to live a life of suffering because of what happened.
Yeah, it went down again, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll just for the next time, so that if you can get closer to the mic.
Let me get an ear thing.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah, and Wendy, I want you to see how much you've grown, because see, your mom passed, correct? And then you kept all that stuff for 10 years because you thought it was somehow disrespectful.
Yes.
And so, but now,
Like minimizing her suffering if I
Right.
threw it out.
exactly. But now you went to the Holocaust, and
Yeah.
it took you just a few days to be able to set that aside and be the light of the world that God created you to be, by aligning with love and appreciation for your life.
Actually, it took me a few hours. I was quite shocked.
Yeah.
I was quite shocked, actually, quite shocked. But, I still here's what's interesting. All I felt was grief. I really did not feel anger or hatred or anything else, just grief, pretty much.
Mhm.
But I made and I did not want to talk. My former chair contacted me lovingly, contacted me, knew how I was going that day. And he said, call me after. I know you're going into hell and you're doing this for your students and I'm proud of you, but we can talk about it. I even didn't want to talk about it. I really didn't. I wanted to experience it. I allowed the grief and then I wanted to lay it down. And all the interactions I had after that with those kids that I met on the train, and you know how I don't know, you or Juan or somebody said, whatever you created, whatever you wanted to hear. It was very interesting because this was my little miracle going back. I didn't know where to sit and on this train that I was going home on for 4.5 hours. And the screenshot I had on my ticket was like cut off. And these young men, helped me and I couldn't figure out where to sit in the trains. There aren't like the trains here. They're like little glassed in, each it's like with 6 seats in a glassed in room. And I didn't know where to go. And to try to go through a bunch of trains and figure out where I was supposed to sit, I didn't know. And there's no people to help you. And they said, well, there's an empty seat here. Come sit with us. And the people don't come around to check your tickets till like 20 or 30 minutes into the train ride. And when the guy showed up and he clicked my ticket, I thought he's going to tell me to get up and go where I need to go. I was supposed to be there. That was my seat with those kids who invited me in to come sit with them. That was my seat. And I was like, well, actually, it was the seat of the guy next to me who was sleeping, but it was that car with those 6 people, and 3 of them were the kids I was talking to. And I thought, well, that's a real miracle. You know what I mean? Out of all these train cars, all the places I could have ended up, I was really supposed to be with them. And my heart felt very light. And I did feel like I was answered because I had asked for relief from what I felt when I left. And I got it, and maybe you'll say I created it or whatever, or I selectively spoke to the people who could have that. We didn't talk about Auschwitz. I mean, just talking to them. It was just, I don't know. I saw love in them. I saw hope in them, and it helped me.
Knock and the door will be answered. You
Yeah.
asked, and that's the little willingness. Juan, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I would love it if I would hear from this person who's been talking, my sister, to hear the word we instead of I. And this happened to me, and I found them, and it's the relationship that's real. It's not you or your experience, it's the relationship, your positionality to those people. That's what's real. That's what's actually moving. That's what's changing. That's the energy flowing. That's who you really are, the relationship in between the I, which is real only if you want to be stuck in the ego. Are you getting
Juan,
me?
I think you were there the first day that I came to a Course in Miracles meeting. And when you talked, I thought you were from another planet. I remember that quite
I
clearly.
am. So long as
I
you want to
thought
perceive me
this,
that way, I am. So
no, I
long as
was
you
like,
want to perceive me that way, I am from another planet. I'm happy
I
to be
hear
from another
you.
planet. If you want to
Oh,
perceive me from another planet, I want to be from a different planet than the one you're on, perceiving me that way.
do you know who I am? We went out to lunch that one time and we ended up
I
talking.
totally do. You're full of a whole lot of resistance, but I'm glad that you're learning how to get past that.
I don't have any resistance. I just think it's funny that in the beginning I could not understand you. I understand you very well now. I was trying to
I
say to
bless
you
that
how
day
I
that I
was
bless you, and
and
I
how I
bless you
now
now.
are not the same. So it's interesting
Bless
to me.
you that very first day I met you because there is no time, and I bless you now.
Thank you.
All right. Would somebody like to read number 4? Number 4.
Wendy Wood.
All right, go ahead, Wendy.
Okay. You see the world that you have made, but you do not see yourself as the image maker. Oh, this was meant for me. You
Oh,
cannot be saved. It always is.
yeah.
You cannot be saved from the world, but you can escape from its cause. This is what salvation means. For where is the world you see when its cause is gone? Vision already holds a replacement for everything you think you see now. Loveliness can light your images and so transform them that you will love them, even though they were made of hate, for you will not be making them alone.
Yeah, and sentence number 4, vision, that's basically seen in alignment with the sight of Christ or the sight of God. Vision already holds a replacement for everything you think you see now. And so there's imagine 2 lenses, okay? Imagine seeing through God's lens or through the ego's lens. One lens will lead you away from peace. That's obviously the ego's lens. And vision, or God's lens, will lead you to peace. And so this is what salvation means for where the world you see when the cost is gone. So that the cost is the way you see the world. The effect is how it makes you feel. Does anybody have any comments? Oh yeah, Juan has his hand up. Go ahead, Juan. Okay, maybe not. Anybody have any comments or questions?
If I look outside and I see beauty, which I do, as I'm looking at my lake, did I make that?
Well, you made that because you're there, and so you made the environment around you. You kind of like manifested it, so to speak, and that's why you have it. So, and remember, somebody can look at the lake and like you have peace, right? So you're making a conscious choice to see the body of water and have peace and relationships to that.
Yes.
There's numerous people who can look at the same lake and be anxious, fearful, doubtful, be resentful, hateful, and so it's not the lake. So it's not the lake that's bringing you peace. It's your thoughts about the thoughts you're choosing to think about the lake that are bringing you peace. And so, yes, the lake is a beautiful volunteer for you to have peace, but you, in the end, are making the decision to have peace. And Sulma, go ahead. Yeah.
That reminds me of the introduction of chapter 21. It says, projection makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it, nothing more than that. But though it is not more than that, it is not less. Therefore, to you it is important. It is the witness to your state of mind, the outside picture of an inward condition. And it goes on from there. But that's what you were just saying, James. We're seeing it from the inside out. And when you were talking about seeing the beauty, people go and see and smell the flowers and all that, and then somebody else who has a tremendous allergy to that, like, oh my God, I don't want to be anywhere near that. So it really is a matter of perception, how we see it and how we choose to see it, because I'm listening to you, Wendy, is it with the story about your mom?
Yeah.
Mine was similar. And I had to decide that I wasn't going to be guilty anymore. I felt like I had, if I let go of what I was feeling, I felt like I was letting go of my mother. And so I understand what you're saying. I get that. But it was a choice. It was a choice. And just like there was a choice to realize that I didn't want mommy to go, but looking back, if I had to have her now, I would have to have her the way I last saw her, and I certainly wouldn't want that for her either. So,
Thank you.
so
I
it looked
did.
like
I had the same thing where I said my mother would not want me to have this feeling. That wouldn't be her wish for me to, hold on to that part of her. She would rather me think of the time before she was sick. And that's why I was finally able to just throw it away and not feel guilty anymore.
Any other comments or questions in regards to that paragraph?
Better or a good awareness of her ego as how it's been functioning with her. Like guilt is a function of ego, like Mike taught me once. So it's like she's the the baggage of her ego or the impact of ego is lessening, which is the guilt is lessening, which she was able to take that action. That sound like how her growth is happening, that she's able to have more self-awareness and see and making a choice. Does she want to see with the ego's lens or not with the ego's lens? Is that reasonable as what she's going through?
Yeah, and that's
Guys, yeah, I gotta leave because I facilitate another course at 7:45, another group, Course in Miracles group. So glad to hear you guys for a while. I'll see you next week.
Thank
okay.
you.
Mike, I've seen you somewhere before in some group. I don't know where though, but I've seen you before. I've seen and heard you before, Mike.
Oh, okay. Probably at Unity.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Mike.
Mike. See you soon.
See you soon.
And okay, paragraph 4, sentence number 1. You see the world that you have made, but you do not see yourself as the image maker. Okay? The world is going to be whatever the world is. You are always defining the world. Okay? And so the world you see is not really so much out there as it is in your mind. You can decide, you can be at peace in your mind, and then you can look at a lake and be at peace. Or you can be thinking resentful thoughts about self or others and look at the lake and still feel a lack of peace. And so see the importance of how we define each and every moment. And that's why if we choose, we have free will. In each and every moment, we can choose to live in heaven or hell.
Is that what you always call the holy instant?
That when you're choosing along with God, with the mind of God through loving thoughts, that means that you're aligned with the holy instant. That means that you're viewing the world through love's lens, through God's lens.
So if you're feeling loving and peaceful, you're in the holy instant.
Yes, yes. If you're using love or any of love's expressions, that's a symbol that you're in the holy instant, a sign that you're in the holy instant, a sign that you're in alignment with the mind and sight of God. When you're out of alignment with the mind and sight of God, when you lack peace, when you lack joy, when you're resentful, hateful, vengeful, then you're not experiencing the holy instant. You're simply experiencing your past programs, what the eagle's fairy tale taught you as true. And so it's a good exercise to start practicing. When am I in the holy instant, and when am I not in the holy instant?
If you're in the holy instant, are you always happy? Like, can you be, I guess, it's a normal reaction for if you see something upsetting or sad to feel grief, but can you grieve and still feel peace? Because, I mean, it's the right thing to feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, is it only aligned with happiness?
Well, that's a complicated question, but I will put it this way: my answer, not the answer. Okay. If God were to see your situation, the same situation that you see with grief, God only sees the perfection of the divine design. And so when he's seen the perfection of the divine design, grief is not a part of that. He understands that everything that's happening is happening always for the greater good. And so he's just happy that we're trying to do our best to be in alignment with him. But remember, the Course says that there's no judgment in God. God never judged. God never condemns you because he never had a need. God never forgave you because he never judged you.
I think I'm asking more about compassion. If you see other people suffering, the normal, I think a loving response is compassion, but you also see them suffering, and that's painful to know that somebody's suffering. So I'm asking you, like, I have always felt like if somebody shows compassion for somebody else's suffering, that is when I actually feel God the closest. I don't know how else to say it. I feel like that's a very true love, when you can put yourself in somebody else's position or feel what they feel and connect to them in that way. So I'm asking you, is that a misperception
Can
or
I ask
not?
a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, let me just answer that very quickly. It's a compassion is an expression of love, and therefore it is part of being in the holy instant. Go ahead, Juan.
So when I choose to see somebody suffering, as opposed to see somebody living their life in the way that they want to be living it, as opposed to giving them full power to reign and do with whatever they want to do with their energy, because they're choosing their life path and their life journey. When I choose to look at their stuff and call it suffering and call it needless and call it, oh, look at how this person doesn't know what they're doing, or whatever, you know? Who is feeling that pain, that suffering, that degradation of experience? Is it them? No, it's me choosing to feel that way about my brother and sister who's living their life the way they want to. Loving is allowing the person to live their life the way they want to. They're obviously living it. They're obviously taking the many, 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 many micro choices to go in whatever direction they want to, up, down, sideways, backwards, frontwards. They don't need my approval or my labeling that they're suffering. They're working their life out the way they want to. They're feeling their way forward. They're feeling their way backward. They're feeling, or if they're refusing to feel, they're doing their life. It's not up to me to look at them with degradation, with disappointment, with, wow, what a fuck up life. You know, you're suffering.
Yeah, each one of us is co-design our journey with the divine, with perfection. And so, yes, if the ego defines your experience, it's not going to define it in a very loving way. But in reality, each one of us co-created our journeys with God. And so whatever it is that we're going through, we will, at some point in time, in some way, shape, or form, use it for good. And so let us remember that. Can somebody read number 5 and 6, please, together?
I can read.
I think Isabel wanted to go ahead and do it.
You can do 6.
Oh, sure.
Okay. The idea for today introduces the thought that you are not trapped in the world you see, because its cause can be changed. This change requires first that the cause be identified and then let go so that it can be replaced. The first 2 steps in this process require your cooperation. The final one does not. Your images have already been replaced. By taking the first 2 steps, you will see that this is so.
And Samir, do you want to do number 6?
Okay. Besides using it throughout the day as the need arises, 5 practice periods are required in applying today's idea. As you look about you, repeat the idea slowly to yourself first, and then close your eyes and devote about a minute to searching your mind for as many attack thoughts as occur to you. As each one crosses your mind, say, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about. Hold each attack thought in mind as you say this, and then dismiss that thought and go on to the next.
And so you're beginning to reshape your world to align it with the mind of God. And it's showing you how you can begin to do that. Each and every time you have an unloving thought, just say to yourself, okay, I can escape the world that I myself am making by choosing to think these unloving thoughts. And another word for unloving thoughts is attack thoughts. And so that the beauty of it is that the world outside of you does not have to change. All that has to change is your decision to stop supporting attack thoughts as real and true. And you have free will. No matter what you're going through, you have free will. You can change your mind about what you're seeing. You can change your mind about the purpose of what you're seeing. The ego is always going to put you down for X or Y reason. But the Holy Spirit, God, is always going to remind you that you have co-created your journey with Him. And so whatever this is happening on your behalf to help you in some way, shape, or form grow, heal, and awaken. And so when you recall that all you want to do in truth is view this world through God's eyes, through love's lens, then you'll start practicing letting go of all attack thoughts that you yourself, through your past programming, have taught yourself as real. But it was just a fantasy. It's just a fairy tale that would have been read over and over again. Any unloving thought is just a fairy tale that's been read over and over again that we now think is true. That's called an attack thought. It's a part of our past programming. But we can make a better choice. We can decide, no, I already traveled this judgmental, angry, resentful road 100 times before, and it never delivers to me the state of peace. Why should I continue to head down dead end roads? Why? Why should I continue to punish myself with my own thoughts? Why? Let go of that. You're worthy of peace as God's child in creation. God wants you to be at peace because he designed you to be a light in this world. If you're constantly supporting judgmental, angry thoughts, you're veiling your light. And so you're not fulfilling your purpose and function as the light of the world. And
Thank
so
you.
when that is happening, consciously stop that line of thinking and remind yourself, this is not what I'm here for. I'm not here to add darkness to darkness. I'm here because God created me to be the light of the world. So what expression of love can I offer right now instead of what I was thinking before? Let me offer forgiveness when the world demands judgment. Let me offer compassion when the world is demanding that I condemn somebody. Let me lead people to the light. Let me lead people to remembering that they can trust God instead of experiencing doubt and fear and chaos and pain. And so in each moment, you can let go of those attack thoughts and you can start to bring heaven here, oneness into duality, heaven into earth. That's what we belong. We can experience heaven on earth. We can create heaven on earth. We can all do that. It takes a step at a time. Just remembering who we truly are and our function here as the light of the world.
This is a big call to be aware of, how we are thinking, how we are behaving, what the thoughts are taking us to, the actions that we take and how it made us feel. As you said, the lens, you have this lens of the ego, the lens of the judgment, the first person that is being aggravated, in the thoughts and the attack thoughts and how we feel inside. And then sometimes, we feel, oh, my chest hurts, my head hurts, my body aches and stuff. So I guess it affects mind, the body, and the spirit. Well, the spirit now, but the body and the mind. And I have some friends that they say, hey, I cannot stop thinking. It's like my thoughts are always there and there and there, so I have to do something. I have to put the TV, I have to put some music, or because otherwise I cannot have peace. It's like, for me, it relaxes me, silence. To me, it's like that's part of my healing, or how I can return back to feeling energized again. Moments of silence, again, when I go horizontal for a few minutes, it relaxes. Some people say, no, 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 no. That's triggering me. I cannot be in silent, because if I'm silent, I get crazy. I get crazy because my mind keeps thinking. So I don't know if it is something that I is still holding on to, the thoughts that's how it is. That's because then one day we went to a breathing, a session of, I think was, anyway, it was breathing, and then, oh, I don't remember what was the name of that. Breathing a lot. And then she was like, I was at peace like never before. We were in silent. There were moments that everybody was silent, like meditating. And then she told me, I felt peace there. I wasn't as silent. I was not afraid that that my thoughts, my mind, I haven't thought nothing about it. I don't know what it was, that the miracle, realizing that probably getting rid of attack thoughts, so judgments and fear, anxiety, negative thinking, not good enough. If the mind is busy with those type of thoughts, of course, when we are in the silent, we're gonna be still with that in the back. It's like, here, I'm attacking you. But once you get rid of those, and every time we're relaxing, we're releasing. Being like as you said, waves of love, and then gratitude. Breathing waves of love, and then breathing out gratitude. If you think that way, wow, what the mind is gonna be filled up with of well-being, peace, and of course gonna be attracting good things after that, because our energy level, and you're gonna go up and up, attracting something at that level. So I think it's also a physical, exercise that we can do. But the main thing is identifying, this is how I'm thinking, this is what I have now, and this is what it makes me feel. Because of these thoughts, this is what it makes me feel. I know now more than I guess before, and still on my journey, on discovering how I'm feeling. What are the thoughts I mean? What's the experience I went through right now? So breathing helps, and being aware is what I'm having right now. I'm having this anxiety. I'm feeling a little bit nervous. But okay, this is what happened now. Right now, I can decide with the choice on seeing this as an opportunity for, to release it, an opportunity to forgive myself, an opportunity to forgive the situation, because I don't want to keep feeling, I don't like it. I don't like the way I'm feeling now. It has to be a better way. Like the author of the book said, when they started writing, it has to be a better way how we relate to each other, and miracles happen.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
James, I do, because I'm feeling anxious, like you're going to end this without reading that last paragraph. And I really wanted to hear what you have to say about this final line that says, when you finally learn that thoughts of attack and of being attacked are not different, you will be ready to let the cause go. And we focus a lot, or I've heard a lot about you, about our judgments of other people, but also I am interested in hearing what you have to say about when you feel that you are being judged, or when I feel like I'm being judged, or feel attacked. And that
Okay.
line is very powerful. Can you explain?
Okay, go ahead and read paragraph 7, Wendy.
Okay. In the practice periods, be sure to include both your thoughts of attacking and of being attacked. Their effects are exactly the same because they are exactly the same. You do not recognize this as yet. Well, that would be true. And you are asked at this time only to treat them as the same in today's practice periods. We are still at the stage of identifying the cause of the world you see. When you finally learn that thoughts of attack and of being attacked are not different, you will be ready to let the cause go.
All right. So your question is what exactly?
Well, it's for me when I'm feeling judgment or about other people, it's easier now for me to identify that and, go through the process, forgiveness, and, mirror. And I'm trying to get to the, the part of gratitude, but the being attacked is a whole other experience, or feeling of being attacked. And this says it's the same. So I was wanting you to talk about that.
Well, I'm not quite
Can you
sure.
explain how it feels different? Where does it feel different?
It
When you
feels
feel
different. It feels different like this, Juan. If I punch you in the face, I'm attacking you. And I would probably feel very angry and powerful at that time, in that moment, because I'm taking that action wrongly, I would say, very wrongly, not loving at all. If you punch me in the face and I wasn't expecting it, that is a completely different experience. I would not feel powerful at all. I would feel victimized and afraid and unjustly mistreated. So
And
to
that
me,
happens because you fully identify with the skin of bag and bones which you are, and not the spirit, full being, powerful that you are. And therefore you cannot decide to understand that nothing that happens to the body actually happens to me. It is totally irrelevant what happens to the body. The body is constantly flowing, changing. So this thing is not me. It doesn't matter if it dies. It's not me. It doesn't matter if you hate it. It's not me. It doesn't matter if you think it's fat and you don't like it. It's not me. I don't give a fuck what you do to this body. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't stop me from loving you, even though you're fucking crazy and you just punched me.
well, I appreciate that. James, is your answer the same?
No, I don't use any F words, but let Sulma say something.
Without without the F words, it's basically, again, we can't be attacked if we are identifying with our body, then we're already in trouble. The course teaches us that what we are is spirit. That's what we are, and that's eternal. That can't be threatened. That's, in the intro of the course. It can't be threatened because that's the only thing that's real. Anything temporary, anything that we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, anything temporary is what's not real. Not real equals temporary. So focusing on anything that's anything temporary, and making that an idol, making that important, making that that's where the problem comes in. It really
Making
comes
that
down
what
to
you
realizing
identify with.
it comes down to realizing that the truth of what I am, not who I am. Zuma, you can beat the heck out of Zuma, but what I am cannot be attacked. Cannot be attacked. And that's where my peace comes, remembering that when somebody's coming at me with a gun, a knife, whatever, that yes, my physical self is going to be, oh my God, I'm getting ready to get shot. That's my first thought. The goal then is to remember through the practice, that that's not me. It doesn't matter what happens here. The truth of what I am is eternal. It's eternal. It's eternal. The ego, which is not real, thinks that the body is real, that this is what I am. It's not what I am. It belongs to me. It's my learning device, but it's not what I am. And that's what the practice does. To your point, Isabel, this is a course in mind training. It's a course in mind training. It's a course in mind training. So we're always training our minds to realize that everything that we see is temporary. In the Bible, it says it came to pass. It came to pass. It didn't come to stay. It came to pass. 727 times in the Bible, it says it came to pass. 700, that's a lot. That's a lot. So it's just temporary, and realizing that it's temporary. So if I can see that if I'm looking at you and I'm judging you, and I think that needs forgiveness, but then I'm saying that if you do it to me, it doesn't need forgiveness. Now I'm separating that. There's that sense of separation, and there comes the problem. The sense of separation, thinking that you and me are separate, that you and me are different, when our source is the same no matter what. So that's the remembrance that at my source, at my core, at our core, it's just a oneness. I'm complete.
Yeah, and what I would add to that is, okay.
One small thing to add. When you get there, when you get to that miracle of an instant of time, nothing separates you from health is inner peace. Health of the mind is inner peace. Health of the face that just got punched is inner peace. So even if something happens to the physical body, if you hang on to it like, oh my God, look what they did to me, guess what? It's going to be a real hard journey for you to heal. Why? Because you want to hang on to the thing that happened. And the person who doesn't align that way, who says this was a temporary crazy from that FU over there, who is totally in their headspace in a weird way to cause violence. But you know what? I let it go and it's no problem. And whatever is going to be a big thing in black and blues for you is totally like a non-healing thing. And I go put on my arnica, and before you know it, my black and blue is gone by next day. Done. Healed. Why? Because I have inner peace. And the other person whom is identified with the ego and can't understand, maybe will never be able to understand. And that doesn't matter, because that's perfect too. We'll hang on to it. We'll hang on to it, create a cancer in their whole body because they can't let go of the energy. They want to put it there, and this is what happened to me, and oh my God, and it's never going to happen to me again, and da 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 da. And they're crazy, but that's fine because that's what they want to do.
So James,
Eventually,
let me ask a question. So as we train ourselves, and I don't think I'm there yet, because if somebody is attacking me, I feel defensive. I feel like I need to defend myself or raise my voice or something. It happened in last week. But as we do this course, when we are getting one, it's very easy for me to not attack somebody because most of the time I'm attacking myself. But if I'm feeling attacked, as we do this course, we will have less of an impulse to defend ourselves or attack the other person back or judge the person. Like, what? How will our body change, or how will our mind?
you'll discover that you will not be attracting attack because you're not seeing attack. You're seeing love. So even if the form of the person is like some major gangster, they're not going to gangster you because they see you as a loving person, not as a person that's weak and fearful and therefore deserves their tiger to attack it. No, you're when a person is in control of themselves, the person has control of what's called the nexus of power. They recognize, I'm an amazing, powerful being. I am one with the source that created me. I am God. God is in me. And you over there, gangster and thug and getting ready to punch, you're not going to punch God. Why? Because there's power here, dude.
Yeah,
But
there's
if they swing, I am going to duck. Let's be clear. Samir, no, if they swing, I'm going to duck.
So
Just
Mr.
like
Juan,
if,
who's not
just like
afraid of
if I
using the
fall,
word.
just like
So
if I
Mr.
fall
Juan,
if I fall in mud, I'm going to go take a shower.
yeah, exactly. Mr.
I'm
Juan,
going
who's not afraid to use certain words, also knows how to do Aikido. And if the person does not want to let go of the idea of punching this body, this person who knows Aikido can turn that person into certain things. And if they choose not to go to the ground, their arm will fall right into my hands and away from their body. And I have no problem using Aikido.
okay. Let me put it another way.
I was referring more to.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll go ahead and answer your question, Samir. Okay, there's a lesson in the course. I believe it's 153. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Okay, it's a good one for you to check out. But what you want to do is first, let me answer Wendy's. It says sentence number 5. When you finally learn that thoughts of attack and of being attacked are not different, you will be ready to let go of the cause. Okay. Only the love in you is true. Therefore, you can't in truth attack anybody. Okay, that's because that's not you doing it. That's the ego's past programming. And nobody can attack you in reality. Because that's, again, only the love in them is true. They are only love. And so if you see only the love in them as true, you will not be affected by the words they use towards you that are less than loving. Because the words they use that are less than loving are not real or true. Because only love is true. And so what happens is that little by little, you start to realize that if they're saying loving thoughts about you or kind or generous thoughts about you, that's the truth in them. And your truth will appreciate that. If they're saying unloving, unkind thoughts about you, that's not the truth in them speaking. And therefore, that's not real or true. And why would you react to something that's not real or true? If somebody calls you a tree, are you going to react and be all sad because somebody called you a tree? It's not real or true. If somebody called you less than the light of the world, would you react to it if you knew that wasn't true? No, you wouldn't react to it if you knew it wasn't true. And so only the truth in them is true. So your function is to practice seeing only the truth in them as true. Only the love in them as true. Everything else is just an appeal for help and healing. And so your response to their appeal for help and healing is to help and heal. How do you help and heal those people who judge you? You forgive them. How do you help and heal those people who are condemning you? You offer them your compassion. You show them a way, another way, a way to the light in them by being the light of the world. Because what are
Well,
they? what are they really asking you for? They're asking you for help. They're saying, Samir, no matter what you think no matter what your ego tells you that they're saying, what they're really saying is that they're asking you to help them see a way out of their darkness and back into the light in them. And so you all only have to answer a call for help and healing with help and healing. That's your only job.
I agree with you, and I think compassion is a loving thing, but Juan makes it sound like it's degrading to the person that you're trying to be compassionate to.
No, it's not degrading. You're being compassionate. You're just being compassionate. Remember, compassion is an aspect and expression of love. Love is the truth in you. So anytime you're using love, being love, or using any of love's expressions, such as kindness, compassion, generosity, joy, peace, understanding, healing, hope, anytime you're using that, you're expressing your true nature. You're being the light of the world that God created you to be. So it's okay to be compassionate. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's loving, you know. But the truth is, what probably Juan might be saying is that because God has co-created each one of our journeys with us, each one of our journeys is perfect for us. And so why do you need compassion if in reality that person's journey is perfect for them? It's only the ego that's telling you that, hey, you need to offer compassion to that person because that person is not experiencing the life they have chosen.
Yes, but everybody doesn't agree or see or the same things we do. They don't my friend who has stage 4 cancer, I guarantee you, if I said to her, you co-created this journey with God, congratulations on your illness and your impending death, she would tell me to fuck right off. You know what I mean? Like, that's the craziest shit you could say to somebody who's suffering.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I'm trying to say to you.
yeah, 20. We're talking about levels. We're talking about different levels. And each level, if it brings you peace to be compassionate, then offer your compassion. You know, I'm not saying don't offer compassion to somebody who has cancer. I'm saying there's different levels of understanding to what's really going on behind this.
I hear you. I'm saying that's what Juan's saying. That's what I hear him saying.
And it's
Like
fine
that.
because he's
You're
talking
welcome to call me and we can have a longer discussion so that I can make it clear for you if you like. But that is not what I hear coming out of my mouth.
yeah, we're
Just to make it very, very straight in between your eyes, what you're hearing and what's coming out of my mouth are two different things.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because I'm like, if that really is the message here, I can't be okay with that because if somebody's ill, if a child is molested, if, people are starving to death, I cannot be like, well, they co-created that with God. Good luck. You're good.
yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. And one thing we always talk about in the course, always do what brings you peace. Okay. So if being compassionate to your friend with cancer is what brings you peace, do that. That's the right thing to do. If you see a kid starving, and what brings you peace is to offer them food, do that. Go ahead, Soma.
Being careful not to look at compassion as pity. There's a thing. Compassion is being real careful there. If someone when I learned that my
Some
sister
people
had
don't know the
stage 4
difference, you
cancer,
know that?
when my sister when I Jake, let me finish please. When my sister when I learned that my sister had stage 4 cancer, I didn't say I was sorry. But I made myself present. I gave her opportunity to talk and say whatever she needed to say, but I never said I was sorry because that was part of her journey and it was nothing I could do about that. No, that would be pretty messed up of me to say, oh well, you co-create. No, would never do that. That's just being plain mean and ignorant. But I made myself available and did whatever I could do to be there for her. Actually, two sisters. It happened two in 2 months. To be available and do what I could to be there. But I wasn't. I didn't say I was sorry. when mommy was going through what she was going through, I never said I was sorry. As the doctors were telling me what was going on, I just kept saying it is what it is, because there's one of the course lessons says, let all things be exactly as they are. And I was embodying that, and making sure I didn't go into wish world. Oh, I wish it was a different way. Oh, this shouldn't be happening, you know, not shoulding and not going into wish world, but just staying present. But I'm not sorry, because it is what it is. What God doesn't intend can't be. And I have to either decide I'm going to go with, you know, go with what God is doing and learn to accept it, or I'm going to put myself in hell. But being sure, never, I'm not going into pity. I'm not going into, oh, I'm so sorry that that's happening. The course talks about true empathy. That's not what it is. That's not it. I'm complete.
All right.
I mean,
Thank you.
posted
Thank
something
you.
on the
Thank
chat.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that clarity.
James,
Accepting God's will, looking out into the world, accepting this is perfect.
Go ahead, Samir.
so Zoma posted something on the chat. I was just wondering if you could explain it. The necessary condition of the holy instant does not require that you have no thoughts that are not pure, but does require that you have none that you would keep. I just want, can you just clarify that?
We know we can't stop a thought from coming. We can't stop the thought from coming, but we're being asked not to hold on to it. I can't stop, you know, in the moment when using my sister as an example, you know, when I was told that you know, that she, well, a week ago Tuesday, I was told that one of my nieces was found, her body was found, she had a heart attack. And I inhaled, oh, and so the first thought was, oh no, first thought, oh no. Now that oh no thought would be the same as saying, oh, this can't be, it shouldn't be, oh my God. But not holding on to that, giving myself the opportunity to exhale and realize, okay, so I can't stop the thought from coming. It's what I do with the thought when it comes. That's what it is. We can't stop it from coming. We've been trained in this world to think the worst, and when's the shoe going to drop and all that kind of stuff. But we have to know today, I have to know today, that there is no other shoe. It is exactly the way it's supposed to be, and to be able to bring myself back to peace by being willing to let those thoughts of pain go. I can't stop it from coming, but I can decide what to do with it once I have it. And that's what it's saying. I can't stop it, but I don't have to hold on to it.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, people, it was a beautiful talk. Thank you very much for all your wisdom, and
you.
I hope everybody got a little more peace.
Zulma, I'd love to be in contact with you further.
He comes every Wednesday.
How are you from Russell?
Oh,
I
hey,
will gladly I'll put my number in the chat. I'll be glad to do that right now.
Good.
I'm here. Everybody has accents. ¿De dónde son ustedes? ¿De dónde son?
¿De dónde son?
I'm in Tallahassee, Florida.
Miami.
you were saying, Isabel, about your friend?
Oh yeah, Russell. My
Hey,
buddy, Ray Chaplin as well.
Pleased
from
to meet you
Unity.
guys.
great,
Okay.
prayer chaplain, with very
Yeah.
useful.
Put my number in the chat.
Okay,
Beautiful.
Ron, you see Solomon's number?
It was nice to meet you,
I'm
Sulam.
calling you now.
Likewise. Okay.
All right,
Thank-
guys. It was a pleasure. And God willing, we'll see each other next Wednesday.
See you
And
next.
thank you all for your time.
Wednesday.
And this video will be on my channel tomorrow by 5 p.m. if you want to review it.
True blessing. True blessing. Thank you all. And thank you,
you.
Master. Thank
Right.
you, Master. Thank you, Master.
So
Great love for you.
the Holy
Great
Spirit is
love
the
for you.
master. The Holy Spirit is the master, not me.
Great love for you, my friends. Great love.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, James. Thank you.